Today, let's see if I can make a game in under 24 hours. The catch is I need to use Fab's free giveaway assets and spin a wheel to determine the genre the game needs to be. I plan to do this for every Fab release, so my end goal is to have 26 different unique projects by the end of the year. Let's waste no more time and jump into it. Okay, so now we're gonna have a look at the new Fab assets, and then we'll spin the wheel and see what it lands on. Damn, we got a medieval castle, a stylized log cabin, ultimate light detection? What is this? The ultimate light detection and perception plugin for Unreal. I've never played around with a plugin before, so this is really cool. These two do not mash. Two very different environmental assets. Alright, this is going to be a challenge, that's for sure. Okay, so now, add them to the cart. Make sure you select the professional license. Today we're saving $570. Alright, sweet. So now let's spin the wheel and see what genre we get. Alright, here goes. Rail shooter last week was really good. I hope we get something that can complement the assets really well, otherwise it might just be a mess. What do we got? Roguelike puzzle horror, casual RPG, simulation arcade, strategy, action. Action game. Oh. I'm glad it stopped there and didn't get racing. Okay, alright, sweet. Now let's hide the choice so we never get action again. I don't know what's in these asset packs, but there's no character controller, which is fine, we can make one from scratch. But an action game, and the only assets we have is 2 environmental ones, and then a lighting plugin. I'm pretty stumped. I'm very excited to check out this plugin though. I think that could come in handy a lot. Okay, first up we create a blank project. Okay, so it turns out I only have 12 hours instead of 24 hours, which is a shame, but it means I've just reduced the scope for this project by a lot, and hopefully I can get the core mechanics working. To start off, I've made the character controller. It rotates towards the mouse position, and can fire a light beam. Firing the light drains the energy. When it hits 0, it locks you out, and you need to regenerate before you can fire again. Otherwise, you can spam it like this. And so the idea is that if an enemy hits the light, it'll apply damage, eventually killing the enemy. The player can move around with WASD in just a normal top-down shooter style game. Okay, alright. I've got the LXR source on the player. On the enemy, it has an LXR detection. Here, we basically tell it if it's the LXR source from the player, and it has the player torch ref, deal damage to the enemy. When we play, you can see it's not lit. Now it is lit, and its health is going down, eventually hitting 0 and being destroyed. Now I'm just going to set up 10 of them in a room. Alright, so let's look at the enemy blueprint. When I start the game, you can see they'll chase the player around. If a player shines the torch on them, they can die, and when they collide with the player, they'll explode and cause damage to the player. Pretty sweet. Alright, so this took some time, but I've made a pretty simple wave manager. So enemies spawn. Once they all die, it moves on to the next wave. Well, let me turn invincibility on. So as you can see, we have the wave, the enemies that are spawning, and how many are left alive. I need to add a player score for killing enemies, just so there's like purpose. Maybe currency, because after wave 5, it will unlock the shop where you can buy upgrades for your torch. So as you can see, it says wave 6, but nothing spawning. I've got debug text that says unlock shop, I haven't made that yet. But yeah, the idea is after every 5 waves, you unlock the shop where you can purchase upgrades for the torch. And then you can continue and go on forever, hopefully. So we can have a really good game loop, which you can get like a proper high score for. I've put text on the screen to show your current objective. So I can proceed to the shop. Once I'm in the shop, it changes to return to the castle, I need to make it so then these, you can buy the upgrades. Come back. You start the next wave. All these enemies die. Wave complete. You can see up here. It's currently set so every 2 waves you unlock the shop. And it's set up so you progress to the shop, buy your upgrade, come back and start the next wave. The bug there, it says wave complete, but they're still spawning. And I think it just went straight into the next one. I'm actually not too sure what happened there. Wave complete again. Either way, they all died. Interesting. I think I need to make them invulnerable when they spawn, so then that doesn't happen. Because you can see it fighting. I'm also using the log cabin for the shop, as it's a contrast between dark scary castle, nice cozy cabin. And that way I have implemented all 3 of the assets. I just need to work on level design and getting the shop upgrade system in. And then I think the core loop is done. And then some tweaking, and I think I might call it there. Alright, so this has taken some time, but I've finally got it working. You can see in the bottom left corner, I have all my current player stats. Once the wave is complete and we need to go to the shop, and then we have these here. When you go up to them, you can then interact with them. So this will improve torch damage, torch energy, torch regen, max health, and movement speed multiplier. I don't have enough coins, so I've made a cheat and give me coins. I also have a cheat that can make me invincible, and a cheat that can make my torch auto on all the time. Anyway, we can buy this, and you can see in the bottom left that my stat increases, my coin decreases, the cost multipliers after each time you buy from there, and then once you leave the shop and return to the castle, your health will reset. Now you can see, much easier to kill the enemies, and if they damage me, there we go, turn to castle, full health, new wave, and so on. Now that the core loop is done, I just need to focus on actually making the game level, and then I think we can call it a day. Alright, I've actually gotten pretty carried away, and kept adding things that weren't originally intended. So I spent about 16 hours on this project, so I don't know what the title of the video is going to be. These are the final touches, and then we'll go into the showcase at the end. I've used the castle pack assets to make this battle arena. And then over here, I've used the cabin pack to make the shop. This wall's at an angle just so you can see into it clearly. I've also added these texts at the teleport triggers just so the player knows where to go. I've made it so after each shop visit, enemy health increases, so there's consistent threat and a reason to actually buy the upgrades. This leads into the menus. I've created a game over menu that shows the total kills, a new game and a quit game function. I've also included a pause screen, which lets you resume, restart or quit the game. And here I have the main menu, where you can start a new game, quit the game, and just the tutorial and a bit of lore. The yellow dot on the enemy represents their infection. The black light kills the infection, reducing the opacity with their health percentage. This is mainly so I don't need an enemy health UI, but it also feeds into the game's lore. There was an issue when if you got hit by multiple enemies at the same time, it would kill all the enemies that hit you, but only deal damage for one. So I've made it that if the player is hit more than once, only one enemy will die, and the rest will just stay on your position. Here under the level, you can see there is a kill volume. This is just so if the enemy goes underneath the world, they'll be eliminated. Because I've had issues where there's no enemies in the battle arena, but it still exists somewhere in the game world. I've also placed one inside the statue, and since adding these, I've not had that issue anymore. I've created an audio manager for the background music. Here if it's on a menu, it'll play the menu music, where if it's not a menu, it'll play game music. The game music has 6 tracks that will be played randomly, the main menu only has 1. I've made it so every time you enter the shop, the music stops, and when you return to the castle, it'll play a new song. Packaging the game actually worked, so the itch.io link is in the description if you want to check it out. As always, thank you for watching, subscribe if you're new and don't want to miss out on the next one, leave feedback in the comments, and have a great day. Now let's see the final result.